Hey guys, Mike Harry here. So this module is going to be going into just sort of an overview about Pinterest, since it is different than other platforms that you're used to advertising on. Just wanted to go in and cover some of the differences between Pinterest and just kind of what it is and how it differs, so you can get an idea about the platform here. So this is going to be an ugly presentation, but that's not the point. The point is to get you good information here. So, first thing is that it is a visual platform. There's not really much text with Pinterest. It's a very visual platform, pictures and videos. It does combine search and browsing. So, those of you unfamiliar with Pinterest, this is kind of what it looks like on a desktop feed. Mobile is just, narrow. I think normally it's set up to go 2 by 2 on mobile, but so you go through, and it's just people come here to get ideas when they're looking into say home remodeling, beauty things, like all sorts of things. People come here to get ideas, so you can browse, and depending on what kind of things you're interested in and the things that you like and pin in that, Pinterest will learn about you and learn what kind of things you like, and they'll try to fill your feed with things that you might be interested in. So this is kind of the browse aspect of Pinterest, is just kind of browsing through here and getting an idea. Or if you're looking for something specific, say you're looking up, so here's some trending on Pinterest. Say we just were looking into travel. And then you get the long tail stuff here if you're looking for different things. But if you just want to search travel, you can scroll, get different ideas, cool hotels, blah, blah, blah. Here is an ad. You can see the promoted by. So normally when you come on a non-promoted pin, say like this one here, when you click it, it brings you, they call it a zoom up. So it brings you to the pin here. And it's got here's the headline for the pin, and here's the description, and then you can click, if you want to click again, then it'll take you to the website that's in the pin. But first it does that zoom up. Now if we go back here, now this one is a promoted pin, so if you click on this, it takes you straight to the website. It doesn't do that zoom up feature and keep you on Pinterest. Now it takes you straight to the website. So that's the difference with the promoted pins. So that is Pinterest. So you can use it with search and looking up different different topics on searching, or you can just browse in your feed. And these are the different kind of things that you'll be able to target on Pinterest, are search terms and then just general interests. So let's go back here. So search and browse platform. People use it for a lot of times for planning big life events. So if they're getting married, if they're having a child, if they're buying a house, or maybe they're just moving and renting, and they're going to be moving into a new place, and they're looking for design ideas or home furnishings, things like that. So people come here to get ideas for big life events a lot of times. So keep that in mind, because those can be good niches to target, because people come here looking for ideas about stuff to buy. So and then looking for ideas. So Pinterest is pretty big as a do-it-yourself platform as well. There's a lot of pins and tutorials and things on like kind of do-it-yourself stuff, but they also come and they get ideas for different things they'd like to purchase as well. Now we'll go into the demographics of Pinterest. I think this is just good to know, so you get an idea of kind of who's on here. I mean, it's a very large platform, but this gives you a bit of an idea. 320 million monthly users, over 80 million in the US. Current demographics of Pinterest, from what I've seen most recently, is that it's 70% female and 30% male. So it is majority female on Pinterest, but that's all right, since women tend to spend more money online than men anyways. That's good, but there still is a healthy male population on Pinterest. So if you do have a product that is men specific, that's fine. There's still plenty of men on Pinterest. And I've seen a couple different statistics. Between 40 and 50% I've seen of new signups are male. So it is majority female on the platform, but more and more men are starting to come to Pinterest as well. It's starting to even out a bit more. 80% of U.S. mothers who use the internet use Pinterest. So if you've got anything that is targeting towards mothers, or targeting for those who have children, Pinterest is a great platform for that. Millennials use Pinterest as much as Instagram, so it is pretty heavy with millennials. Median age of Pinterest is 40, but the majority of active pinners are below 40. So median age is 40, but the people who are actively pinning like images to boards and that are more active on the platform are under 40. And then half of Pinterest users earn $50,000 or more per year. So solid income for Pinterest earners. So they do have the ability to purchase, which is a good thing. Now going into like broad versus more niche or niche. So the thing with Pinterest is that you've got the two kind of categories that you can do targeting with Pinterest, and that is search, so the keywords people are searching for, and then just general interest targeting. You can target general interest, kind of like how you do on Facebook, but it's not as detailed. You don't type it in and you got 3,000 different things to choose from for each thing you type in, like on Facebook. You've got with Pinterest, it's a specific predetermined set of categories that Pinterest has already chosen, and you can choose from those, and it's much more limited than Facebook, and because of that, you don't have the ability to get real detailed with targeting, except with keywords. So the keywords are the way that you can get more targeted with your targeting, get more specific with your targeting. But with that, a lot of times those more specific keywords are going to lack a high amount of search volume. So something that is more specific, there may be some search terms for it, but that is going to be limited to what you can scale with that. Because if there's only a few hundred searches for a certain keyword every month, then you're pretty limited with your scale. So I would say that in general, it's going to be better to choose a product that has more of a broad appeal, since when you get super detailed with Pinterest, you lose the ability to scale with specific keywords. So interests are really good for scale, but they are much more broad. So if you can, I would choose a product that has more of a broad appeal than something that is going to be very specific, like something for just Chihuahua owners or something like that. Say if you have Chihuahua socks, like it's going to be pretty hard to find people who own Chihuahuas on Pinterest. Like it's going to be more difficult to do that, whereas targeting something more general, just like pets overall or dogs overall, cats overall, you're going to have a lot easier time with that than trying to find specific breed owners. So I think that pretty well covers that. And then lastly here, these are just some of the kind of hot niches on Pinterest, things that I would say are good categories for Pinterest. So anything beauty related, hair, skin, teeth, anything like that is good. Pinterest is a little bit easier going than Facebook for the beauty niche. They do still have rules like for like weight loss things. That's another hot area on anything, any platform for advertising fitness and weight loss. So you can't do supplements. They don't allow you to sell supplements. You can't have before and after pictures on your in your ad or on your landing page. And you can't have any unlikely claims, which I believe is like they claim like you can't claim more than losing like 2 pounds a week or something like that. So I wouldn't get specific if you're going to do anything with weight loss. There are a little workarounds with this kind of stuff. You can get your, not with the ads, but with your landing pages. You submit your ad for review, and then once it gets approved, then you can go and edit your landing page and make some changes on your landing page if you want. And I don't think they really check back on that stuff, but that would be against the rules to put any before and afters in your ads or on your site. Other than that, fashion, clothing, and accessories, huge on Pinterest. Home decor, kitchen accessories, gardening, bed bath, anything with the home is huge on Pinterest. Pets are always a good one, since like 2/3 of the United States households have pets. Anything with children, clothing, toys. I don't really know what people buy for kids. I don't have kids, so whatever people buy for kids. Lots of people with kids on Pinterest. And travel. Travel's a good niche as well to be in. So these are some good ones to keep in mind as you're thinking about product ideas. These are some great niches to be in on Pinterest. And I think that covers everything for kind of an overview about Pinterest. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, Mike Harry here, and in this video we are going to go over product research. So product research in a way that is good for Pinterest. So first would be, easiest way is in Facebook. So first thing with the Facebook feed, if you guys are familiar with Turbo Ad Finder, that can help to show you ads as well. So for one, you can just go through scrolling through looking for ads. There is this extension called Turbo Ad Finder. Although I have been running into some issues with it lately. We'll see how it works. So we can turn that on. And then what that does is it changes your feed so that you only see ads. So we got the Restore Hair Growth System. So you can scroll through like this looking for product ideas. And then another good thing to do when you see anything like something like this is to click Shop Now, so that Facebook tags you as an engaged shopper. You can even add to cart if you want to, so you'll probably then start getting targeted for Facebook users who are targeting add to cart conversions, and you can you can save the ad, whatever you want to do, so that you get shown, so you can save it. So all those kind of things are things that will show Facebook that you're interested in those type of products, and then hopefully you get targeted by more dropshippers and you get more product research ideas. So this with Turbo Ad Finder, that's a good one. And then another thing you can do is use the search feature, so you can search for, you can do something like 50% off or free shipping, and then you go to videos, and then you can sort by posting. So if you wanted to do, say, something that was this month, and then take a look at the views. So I mean, if it's got over 100,000 views, somebody's spending a decent amount of money on it, and they're probably making money on it, especially if it's got 500,000 views, 4 million views. So what's this, light up charger? It's pretty wild. So you can scroll through and do research through this. Facebook is loading more posts. See, this is the error. Apparently they spelled Facebook wrong in the error, but that's the error I've been running into with Turbo Ad Finder. So I guess maybe advertisers aren't happy with it, some of them, because if you're just scrolling through looking at the ads, then all the advertisers are being charged for those impressions. So kind of screws over advertisers, I guess. But so yeah, so you can do that, search videos, and then another way is to look up other drop shipping stores. So you could look up a big one here is Blue Crate, and then you can go to page transparency, see more, running ads. You can go to ad library, and alright, that print on demand type thing there. Mug. Let's see here. Sequin pillow. Looks like they're getting into a lot of custom print on demand type stuff. Yeah, so they're really getting into the customized print on demand stuff, looks like. So that's another way, is to go look at what ads other dropshippers are running. And then another tool is Ad Spy. So with Ad Spy, you can search for, say you wanted to do something in the beauty niche, you could do some search for something like skin. And when you do that, let's see. So we got cleanser, soaps. Let's see. Now another thing you can do to get yourself more likely to be hitting drop shipping stores is to filter by Shopify or ClickFunnels. So filter here, you can see anything that these are running. Okay, so yeah, there's a cool.
I had no idea how oily my face was. My buddy told me about Lumen, and you get all this stuff for free. Exfoliating rub? Whoa.
There's a cool magnetic one that I saw actually when I was going through here, a magnetic face mask. So with AdSpy, you can search for certain keywords like that if you're looking to try to get into any certain niche, or other than that, you're going to want to filter by Shopify, ClickFunnels. Those will give you drop shippers, and then just keep an eye on when they were last seen, definitely, to make sure that they're still running, still relevant, still making money, and that and then you can see created on. So if it's got an old created on date and it's still running, that can be a good sign that if it's been running, the same ad's been running for a long time, that can be a pretty good sign as well. So let's see here, and then another tool is to go on Etsy. You can use this to get ideas, see what's trending. So if you just click in the search box, it'll show you popular right now. So you can see these different things, candles. You can scroll, get ideas through here. You can then go, say you want to do look for something in the home space. You can just go here, and you can scroll through and just get ideas. You can see what kind of things are selling. You can look at this has obviously got a lot of reviews here, so this is a popular item here, chunky knit carpet. So Etsy is a good tool for research and ideas, browsing around, looking at the different categories. Here, these are a lot of things that would translate very well into Pinterest. A lot of these things that are popular on Etsy. So Etsy is a good one. And then AliExpress, of course, with the Asify Chrome extension tool. So with that, these were ones I came across. I was checking out push-up jeans. So I saw an ad for these on, I think it was actually on Pinterest. So these, what I like to do is I like to sort by orders, and then you can see the amount of orders from the different stores here. So you can see these style were the ones that I got hit with ads for. This one, they got 700, 1300. So they're moving a decent amount of volume on these. And then with the Asify Chrome extension, what's cool about it is that you can see trends over time. So then you click on it, and for some reason it's in another language for me, but you can see the 6-month order data, the 1 month, you can see the breakdown of how it's been selling over time. So pretty cool extension tool there. So yeah, checking out the different categories in AliExpress. You can, they've got their own things that they try to advertise for you to give you ideas. Like these definitely look like a lot of drop shipping style products here. So there's these, and then you also have your drop shipping center that you can go to. You just have to accept the terms for it, and then you have access to the drop shipping center. You can do find products to sell, and you can search by categories here, do searches for certain type things and set prices. Then you can do product analysis. So say we wanted to check out this product here. What you do is you take the link, copy it, take it over, paste it here, you hit analyze, and then it'll show you the sales volume, but it doesn't go back very far. And it'll tell you logistics reliability as well, below average. So that is not great. So yeah, this is another tool you can look at within AliExpress for product research. And then SimilarWeb is another good tool. So if you wanted to, say we wanted to check out, what was the one we were looking at the other day? Oh, Inspire Uplift, who's doing a lot of drop shipping on Pinterest. They were running heavy on Pinterest, we found out. So you can come here, you can see, well, if it loads, there we go. So you can see total visits, 3.4 million in the last month. You can see how it's been trending over the last 6 months. You can see their bounce rate, pages per visit, average time on site, and where the traffic's coming from, mostly US. And then you can see their traffic sources. So they're getting 37% direct traffic now, direct to their store, referral, search, social. So 39%, their largest category is coming in from social. And of social, then you can see here, their largest category of traffic is coming from Pinterest, then YouTube, Facebook, and you can see some information about display ads, some other things here, organic, search, paid, so all that stuff. So this is a good tool to, once if you find a store that's running and selling a product that you're interested in, you can use this website to see how many visitors they're getting, and that can give you an idea of their how much money they're bringing in. And obviously it totally depends on the store, their conversion, the niche, the price of the products, and all that. But a lot of times it could be like $1 to $2 per visit. On those stats, if it's coming, I would say if it's coming from a lot of heavy traffic from like Facebook and those type of ad sources. Now on Pinterest, from what I found, that the traffic's really cheap and you get a lot of traffic, but it doesn't convert as well as on Facebook. So you definitely won't be getting $1 to $2 per visitor from Pinterest traffic. But but from like a well-targeted and well-seasoned Facebook pixel ad campaign, you could see that. So, so that is another thing to look at. Oh, and then another thing is that if they're not getting a whole lot of traffic, if they're not, running a pretty good amount of traffic with a little bit of history to that traffic, they may not show up on SimilarWeb. I found that a lot when I've tried to look up sites. So, and then lastly, some additional factors that I look at when I'm selecting a product are, first is the perceived value of it. So, if it's, some sort of trinket on AliExpress and it looks like some sort of trinket from AliExpress, you're not going to be able to sell it for a high amount of money. Even if it costs you $1, if everybody only thinks it's worth $5, then that's not, you're not going to be able to sell it for a high amount of money. But if you can take a product that has a high perceived value, like it looks like it could be worth a lot, that can allow you to price things higher. And the higher you can price things, the larger your margins are, and the easier it is to run ads profitably. So a big thing with perceived value is if you can create a brand around the product. If you're doing a one product store, if you're doing like a niche store, maybe a handful of products in there, can you create a brand around it? If you're selling the posture corrector, you make a store that's called like Posture Plus or something like that, and you name the posture corrector the Posture Plus Spine Corrector 2000 or whatever. You brand, you create your store name, your website URL, your product names, everything you brand it around around a brand that you create. So that is a really good way to increase perceived value of a product. And then by doing that, you can increase the price, and then you have larger margins, more profit. Everything is easier. Now, on the flip side, there are some things you can look at, like free plus shipping offers. Free plus shipping offers used to make a killing with Facebook ads, but over the years with Facebook ads going up, nobody's really doing free plus shipping offers anymore because it's just too expensive now for the ads, where it's just really hard to be profitable unless you got a really good back end to your funnel. You got upsells in place, or that you're going to be selling your customer on additional products on the back end. Things like Russell Brunson, with his free book funnel, where he does a free plus shipping funnel for his book. But on average, in the book, the shipping's like $7. But then they've got 2 upsells in place after the book. And just from that alone, their average order value then goes to, I think it's about $40. And the book costs them like $10 or $12 to produce. So now all of a sudden they've got a profitable, even with a free plus shipping bundle, they've got a profitable ad campaign, even with the ad costs figured in as well. He was talking about it. So it is possible with good back ends in place like that. But it's been tough. But I'd be really curious with Pinterest. I have never tried a free plus shipping funnel on Pinterest yet, so I would be very curious to see if that could be a viable funnel with Pinterest, because the traffic is so much cheaper than Facebook. You may be able to make something like that work on this platform. But if you want to play it safe, bigger margins are definitely a safety factor. If you can have bigger margins there, that's just more money you can spend per customer before you're breaking even or losing money. Other than that, if something is trending, whenever something catches in a trend, that can be just a really easy way to sell something. If the desire is already there, if people are already wanting it, then it's a whole lot easier to sell it. And then wow factors, is there something that you can show, especially in like a video ad, that makes people stop? Scrolling through their newsfeed makes them stop and go, whoa, what is this? What's going on? Anything like that. Some of the cool gadgets, those sort of things that make you, stop. Those can be good things to help your product sell. And then another thing to think about are bundles and upsells. What are some things you could bundle it with, or that you could upsell afterwards that make logical sense? Like, can you come up with anything that would go with this product that bundles well with it, and then take a look on AliExpress, see what the prices are like, what could you sell that upsell for, what kind of margins are you going to have there. So that's another thing to think about, is what you can bundle it with or what you can upsell afterwards. So those are the factors that I would look at when choosing a product for Pinterest ads here. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, Mike Harry here, and in this module I wanted to talk to you guys about customer avatar, which I know is something that is talked about a lot. So, I know it's talked about a lot, but it is important, and I was always tempted. This was one of the things that I always kind of glanced over at, for a while, that I would skip over and go, I don't really want to do that. I don't think it's that important. But like, as soon as I started embracing this, it really made a difference. It really does make a difference, because when you get this down and you can really speak to your ideal customer, that is really powerful. So your customer avatar, that's how a lot of people would put it, as your ideal customer. What does your ideal customer look like? And a lot of people think about it in terms of demographics. How old are they? Are they like a 35-year-old married woman with 2 kids who lives in Nebraska? Something like that, which is very demographics based. And I mean, you can do that, and that can be useful for targeting. If your customer base really is, say, women that are within this certain age range, that are likely to be married with kids, etc., that can be helpful for targeting. But what can be a whole lot better is to be able to dive into like that actual person as a person. As marketers, it's very easy to forget a lot of times that there's somebody on the other side of the screen. We're here looking at charts of cost per click and CPM and click-through rates, and we're looking at everything as a table and charts. But on the other side of that is a real person who's scrolling through their news feed, or scrolling through their Pinterest feed. Like, there's a real person on the other side of that, and that's what you have to remember. So that's where customer avatar really can really come into play. And one of great ways to do that is with this worksheet here. I'm going to give this to you. So one thing I was thinking was that I would kind of just give you guys an idea, go through here and see what I would do for, say, a certain product. Like, there was one that I saw, come on, AliExpress, that I thought would be a good one for this was the beard straightener. If you guys remember that was one that got hit by a lot of drop shippers. So it was this one, this beard straightening comb thing here. So something like that, that can be kind of a tough one to target. Like, how do you target men with beards? So like, one of the things you can do, you can come to Audience Insights on Facebook, and you can search for beard type interests. So you can search beard, you could do beard oil, apparently local business, men with beards. There's a few things, but like, other than that, like, how do you find guys with beards? Badass Beard Care. Okay, so there's one company there. It can be difficult to track down an audience like that. So what a worksheet like this can do is to help you find alternate angles to targeting your demographics. So like, let me see here. So with something like I guess, to backtrack a little bit, we were talking about how your customer avatar is your ideal customer. What I would almost say is in terms of drop shipping, in info business, yes, you build your avatar around your ideal customer so that you're bringing on board customers who are people who you want to work with. But in terms of drop shipping, yeah, to an extent, but I would more focus on kind of profiling your customer. Like, what do you think the average of your customer likes? Like, if you're your Facebook pixel, what are the overarching trends of your buyers? So I would do something like, so if I was trying to sell this beard straightening comb, so I would type in some of these beard interests here, and then, I mean, you can see definitely majority men. So first thing you can do is you can come in and you can look at, okay, what kind of jobs do they have? Okay, well, they definitely are more likely to be in construction jobs and extraction jobs, installation and repair, and cleaning and maintenance. So these two majorly, construction and extraction, installation and repair services. So then you can go to page likes, and you can look at e-commerce websites. Okay, the Beard Club, that's what they're interested in. Clothing company, American AF. So you can click on that, and you can see what is this. American AF. Okay, so this is... all right, so this is one of their top page likes. So you can see affinity, how strongly they're correlated to these different categories, and you can see more. And what I like to do is I like to expand this down and go through all of these. Look at all the different Mossy Oak. Okay, so that they're like outdoors hunting type guys. Dollar Shave Club, Coors Light, Cabela's outdoor store, Bass Pro Shops, Tough Mudder. So now you start to get an idea. Like it was at first you go, how am I supposed to target guys with beards? And then you can start to go through here and you go, okay, these are the things, these are the brands they like. They like Carhartt, Champ Sports, hunting, the Marines, Buffalo Wild Wings, Barstool Sports. You can see these different things, and you start to get a whole lot more ideas about where you can find these groups of people. And then location, I don't really look at this too much here. I don't. It seems pretty irrelevant for the most part from what I've found, and same with this stuff. But page likes and demographics. Page likes majorly. This is a huge thing to come into. And then what you can do is you can start to then change out these ones to get new ideas. So you can do, you could start to come in and say, all right, what was that? Mossy Oak. Okay. And then you can do Cabela's Sporting Goods. So you could do, you could even pull out these ones and then do Cabela's and Mossy Oak. And then then you can go through these type, same kind of things. Construction, extraction, installation, and repair services. And then you can go to page likes, and you can start to get more ideas here. Deer and deer hunting, Sportsman's Channel, Bassmaster, Field and Stream, Polaris, all these different companies and interests, and Craftsman, Tools, Chevy trucks, Ford trucks, so you can start to find a whole lot more angles to come at for these audiences by doing this type of research. So this is a worksheet that goes through a whole lot of these type of things. So when you come through here, you can see what tools does your avatars use in your market. So that could be literal tools like wrenches and that kind of thing, which probably would be for the beard group guys, or it could be like digital tools. What kind of software do they use on their computer? What brand makes those tools? So who's the company that makes that? In this example might be Craftsman. What online stores do they shop in? Cabela's, probably those different online, hunting type stores, outdoorsman stores. what in-person stores do they shop in? Same kind of things for this one probably would be Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops. Who are your competitors? So it looks like it would be like that Badass Beard Care Company. That would be one. There's another beard one. And then you can go on Google and you search, companies that are in your niche. And you can do, one thing to do is you can do beard straightener plus Shopify. And then you can come in and you can open up some of these and you can find the other stores that are running it. Here's a drop shipping store with it, another drop shipping store with it, same thing. So you can find your competitors here, you can see how they're advertising it. So so there's that. Let's see, where were we? So competitors, what apps are they using? Same thing, software. What else are they buying? So you can go, another good thing for something like that is to go to Amazon and you search beard straightener. Come on, Amazon. Let's go already. Come on. Okay. Alright, beard straightener. Come on. Amazon has been deathly slow on this computer lately, and I don't know why. Stop. Okay, so you go to beard straightener. So you could check out any of these. Here's the same drop shipping one. Here's another one with more orders. So you click on one of these, and then what you can do is you go down. You can say, what other items do your customers buy after this? So in this one, more of the same, but you can see and discover other items, explore brushes for beards, explore combs for beards. So these are the kind of things, you can get ideas down here, what else they buy, and then it gives you suggestions. So there we go. There's some, other products that these people are interested in. And then you could look at just completely other products as well that these people would be interested, that are not directly related to what you're selling. And then then you can go down to events. What in-person events do they go to? What online events do they go to? What online forums, message board groups are they in? What associations, clubs, buzzwords or keywords do they use? So like the beard guys probably, have their own certain keywords about beard oils and, different things about having a beard that I don't know about because I've never had a big beard. So then let's see, is your avatar consuming content about your marketing topics? So are they already being advertised to? If they are, by who and where are they getting ads fed to them? What blogs do they read? What books, magazines, TV shows, movies, Facebook pages, influencers, educators, entertainers, celebrities. So this is what I want you guys to go through. Once you have your product selected, I want you to go through this worksheet and fill out all these things, because this is going to really help you to figure out where your customer is hanging out. So I highly recommend using this audience insights tools and starting to dig around into this, and you can really start to get a good idea of the type of person that is into your niches, items and products. So that is what I want you guys to do for customer avatar. See you in the next one. What's up, guys? Mike Harry here. So in this module, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking through my decision. So what I decided to do with you guys with this training is that I'm going to go through each step of the process with you, so you can see what I would do. Like as we're going through the process, I'm going to be going through the same steps, and I'm going to be choosing a product and building a store and running an ad campaign and going through all that step by step. So you guys will be able to do it here right with me, so you can go through the process with me, see what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking and everything as I go through the process and make my decisions. So I did choose a product, and what it is, I chose to go with a chunky knit blanket. So maybe you've seen these things before. I came across this just while browsing on Etsy, and I've seen them in the past. I've seen them before, and I actually kind of wanted to get one. They look really, really nice. So I thought that this would be a good product to run on Pinterest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a store based around these chunky knit blankets. Now, there's several reasons for my choice of these blankets. One is a high perceived value. For one, they are made of merino wool. So this is one of the suppliers that I found that I'm going to be using to supply these, and it's made of merino wool. So I didn't exactly know what that meant, so I looked it up. And what is merino wool? Natural fiber, merino sheep, thinner, softer than regular wool. Why choose merino wool? Natural, regulates body temperature, dry and sweat free, blah blah blah, so soft, biodegradable. So basically, I can sell the benefits of merino wool now with this blanket, so that gives it a strong perceived value, and also because I went and I looked them up on Etsy. You know, I was going through and I found this one that's also the merino wool. They've got over 800 reviews, so you know they've sold way more than that. So they've sold a lot of these. And what I did is I went and I found these prices. So here was another thing with this one that I came across, was that this supplier of these, they go up to, these are the sizes in centimeters. You know, I'm American, so I don't understand centimeters. But anyways, so they've got these sizes, and they get up to 100 by 130 centimeters, which isn't that big for a blanket. But this is with e-packet. So, and then if you go here, they go click here for bigger size blanket. So, and then it takes you to this one where they offer these larger sizes. Now, but it's not e-packet. So once you get to these bigger blankets, I'm assuming they can no longer ship them with e-packet. So they've got this other shipping method that it's free, and all these other ones start at $60. Like, they're way more expensive to use anything else. But it's not tracked, unfortunately, and it's delivered by 3/21 or full refund, and today's 1/26. So that is like 7-8 weeks, and they say deliver before then or full refund. So I'm assuming it won't take that long, since that's the date that they'll give you a full refund if it doesn't come by. But it is a while to wait, and there is no tracking on it. Now, for a lot of people that would kind of put the brakes on things, or maybe just on selling these larger sizes. But I was looking at the sizes, and the smaller ones, like, they don't really get up that big. It's not that big for a blanket. It's just really not that big for a blanket. And I would want something larger if it were me, definitely. So I thought about it, and in this group we find solutions. So I thought about it. I thought, how can I make this work? So what I'm going to do is, since these are handmade merino wool blankets that are made to order, you get all these sizes and colors and that, they're made to order. What I can do is I can just put a notice on the website, and I can say say that or I could categorize them into two: small size blankets and large size blankets, and I can say, please allow, say, 2 to 4 weeks for delivery for small blankets, and 5 to 8 weeks. I guess on the long end, if it does take that long for these ones that don't use ePacket before the refunds, it probably won't take that long. But I could say 5 to 8 weeks for large blankets. And note that they're handmade and they're custom made to order, so that's why it takes several weeks for you to get them. Or I could say since if this is the long end, and also I'm going to reach out to the seller and I'm going to ask them how long the orders typically take and see if they've got any other shipping methods that we can look into. But say if this is it, I could say something like, please allow 3 to 5 weeks for delivery. Or say like average of 3 to 5 weeks for delivery. Please allow up to 7 weeks or up to 8 weeks in times of high demand or in times of high orders, something like that. Basically say that could take up to 7 or 8 weeks. And I think people would understand since it's this custom hand made to order blanket. So I think people would be all right with that. Because of those things, we've got high perceived value since you get the merino wool. Oh, and then so on Etsy, I looked up these, I went and compared the sizes. They didn't have exact same sizes as what's available on AliExpress. So what I did is I took a few of them on here. I took the cheapest one, and then I took a 60 by 60 inch and an 80 by 80 inch, and I put them into this here. So from the seller on Etsy, I got the square inches. So for this size blanket, that's the total square inches, 60 by 60, 80 by 80. These are the total square inches, and this was the price of them. So I just took the total square inch, or the price divided by total square inches, and it gives you the price per square inch. So for all of these, their price per square inch is 7 cents. So they're pretty consistent no matter what size. They're charging 7 cents a square inch. So what I did then is I took these sizes from AliExpress, converted them to inches, roughly. My rounding might be off one way or the other. But from centimeters to inches, then I took it total square inches, and then this column here takes the total square inches times by 7 cents per square inch, and that basically gives me what the price for this size blanket would be on AliExpress. On Etsy. This was what the equivalent price would be on Etsy for this size blanket from that seller that has a bunch of orders. And this is my actual cost from AliExpress for each size blanket here. So, and the gap here is the e-packet and non-e-packet here. So then you can see here the cost to me, what the equivalent Etsy price is, and then you can see the margins, like the Etsy price minus, the margins are the Etsy price minus my cost. So this is the margin that I've got on each of these. So on the smallest size, I'd have a $23 margin, all the way up to, if I went with this pricing, the equivalent Etsy pricing, a $314 margin on the largest one. Now, I don't think I'll go that high on these. I think I'm going to probably make my prices a little bit lower than the Etsy prices here, but that still leaves me, especially on these larger blankets, that means I've got, on something like this, I got, $120, $40, $160 that I could spend in ads to acquire one customer to break even. So, that is a lot of ad spend that gives you when you've got huge margins like this. So, that was one of the big factors as to why I chose to go with these blankets, is because what I can get them for on AliExpress, what the value of them would be on Etsy, what people are paying for them, leaves me really big margins here, and I think it'd be a good product to sell on Pinterest. So, and they also have broad appeal. It's a very broad appeal item. It's a blanket. I think they've also got some eco appeal that you could use, like with the merino wool, biodegradable, blah, 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 all this stuff. I think you can take an eco angle on it, which I think is kind of a thing that's in and popular right now. And then I think it's also good. You can, I think, use emotions with this product and kind of paint a story to people as well. Like when I was going through and looking at these, things like this, you could just you can write copy about being curled up on your couch with this super cozy blanket and a good book while it's raining outside, and or being cuddled up with your kid or your dog or whatever, snuggled up watching Netflix. You can kind of paint a vision of the coziness in somebody's mind and get them to imagine and feel it. You can kind of feel it as you go through and you look at these images. You can paint these kind of images into people's minds with your copywriting as well. So for all of those reasons, that is why I am going to be testing out this chunky blanket. So homework for you guys is to go through, find a product. If you don't have something that you're already set on wanting to sell, use the research methods and keep in mind everything that I covered in this lesson about Pinterest and what's good with Pinterest and everything, and find yourself a good product, and then go through the customer avatar worksheet and fill that out. And I'll see you guys in the Q&A. All right, talk to you later. Hey guys, Mike Harry here, and this week we are going to be going over how to sell your product. Now that you've got a product selected, you need to be able to effectively sell it. And I think this is something that has been lost in a lot of drop shipping. I think everybody just likes to try to find a product, slap together a product page, sale page, throw some ads up and see if it sells, and if not, on to the next one kind of thing. I don't think people put enough effort into actually really doing a good effort at selling the product, and I think that's very, very important, and I think that is something that needs to be focused on. So that is what we are going to focus on here. Now, I'm not going to be going into specific, click here, drag and drop, type this sentence in this spot kind of thing. I'll show you guys in the next video how I built my store, but for this video, it's going to be more so kind of just a little more general that can be applied to any product and any store, Shopify, WooCommerce, ClickFunnels, whatever you're running. This will be kind of the general overview. So first and foremost, the most important thing you need to remember as you're creating your website, sales page, product page is an acronym WIFM. And I learned this first when I was actually doing mortgage phone sales, and it stands for What's in It for Me. So that is what you need to be remembering the entire time that you're building your page, your process, everything. You always have to keep in your mind, this is what the customer is thinking. What's in it for me? Too many people are focused on too many things that don't directly translate into the customer getting a benefit. Focusing on product specifications, like, why does anybody care that your computer has a 1 terabyte hard drive? Well, they care because what's in it for them is that they have lots of storage space to store all their photos and music and movies. That's what they care about. They don't care about a 1 terabyte hard drive. They care that they get to store all their photos and videos and music. So remember that there's a distinct difference between a feature and a benefit, and you really need to stay focused on the benefits to sell well. So you may have heard this one before, that people only want the result. So there's I think I heard it from I'm blanking on his name right now, big marketing guy, the bald one, but anyways, they don't want a drill bit, they want a hole in their wall. So nobody actually wants, for the most part, a drill bit when they go to the store to buy a drill bit. What they want is the end result. They want a hole in their wall so they can hang a picture or whatever they're doing, whatever their project is. They don't want the drill bit, they want the hole in the wall. If there was a way to just, pay for a hole in the wall, that is what a lot of people would do if it were cost effective and they could just get the end result. they would just get the hole in the wall. They wouldn't buy a drill bit. So keep your focus on the desired end result, and just keep in mind that that is what the customer wants to get to, is the end result. They don't care about the process. They don't care about all the tech specs and all that. They just care about getting to the end result. Keep that in mind as you're writing. So 3 core desires that pretty much anything can fall into when you're selling are health, wealth, and relationships. Now you can go deeper into these, but and I will in a couple slides here, but basically everything is going to fall into these 3 categories for desires of what people want. These are the 3 things people are trying to improve, basically. Their health, their wealth, their money situation, and their relationships, whether that be platonic relationships with their friends, family, or a sexual relationship, trying to improve their marriage, or trying to go and sleep with a bunch of women, or whatever it is. Everything typically can be categorized into one of these 3. And as we're going through here, I want you to keep in mind your product and your customer avatar. So last week we went over the customer avatar in the worksheet and kind of figuring out, getting a good idea of who your customer is, and trying to really get a good feel for them as a person. So try to keep in mind who you're selling to. Try to envision them as you're going through this. Who are they? What are their desires? Like, what are they trying to achieve? What are they scared of? Their fears? What kind of words do they use? What kind of language does this group use? If they're a logger and they work in the woods all day, they probably look differently, speak differently, talk differently, type differently than a 20-year-old girl who goes to fashion school and drinks a daily Starbucks. They're different people. They speak differently, they think differently, and they buy different products. And keep that in mind as we're going through here. So this is a list called the Life Force 8. I took it from a book called Cashvertising, which I think is a great book that you guys should read. Now, this kind of expands upon the health, wealth, and relationships, and it breaks it into a list of 8 things that are basically core desires that human beings just innately have these desires. So first is survival, enjoyment of life, and life extension. So basically just simply your survival, enjoying life, and trying to extend your life and make it longer. Then enjoyment of food and beverages, freedom from fear, pain, and danger, sexual companionship, comfortable living conditions, to be superior, winning, keeping up with the Joneses, status, care and protection of loved ones, and social approval, which also is kind of along with keeping up with the Joneses and status. So these are what you want to keep in mind about desires. These are core desires that are innately built into all humans, and what you'll find is that you can take your product and you can tie it back to one of these core desires. So that's what you want to keep in mind. A lot of times you might think, say you're selling a razor for shaving. You might think like health, wealth, relationships, this list, where does that fall? Well, really, like, why does somebody shave? Why do they use a razor? Because they want to look good, right? They want a nice, clean shaven face. They want to look, well kept, professional. Maybe they want to attract a mate because of that, right? So sexual companionship, or they want social approval. They want people to respect them and look up to them. So what's important to them is making sure that they have a well-maintained appearance. So off the cuff, initially, you might think that your product doesn't relate to these, but you got to think a little deeper and dive into, like, why does somebody really use this type of product? What is the end desire that they're trying to fulfill with the product? And that rolls into the next slide here. So basically, kind of the way that we act is first that there's a tension or some sort of aggravator that causes us to feel uneasy, that creates a desire within us. So, and then from that desire, then what we'll do is, if the desire is strong enough, we'll take an action that satisfies the desire. So an example here, attention could be seeing your child talking to a stranger. Say you're at the playground and you see across the playground your kid talking to some adult, strange, creepy looking man. So the desire that would come in from that Life Force 8 list would be protecting loved ones. So you'd have that desire when you see them talking to somebody that worries you, you'd have the desire to protect them. And the action you would take would be to intervene with the situation to make sure that your child stays safe. So it goes from attention to a desire from the Life Force 8 list, and then you take an action to satisfy the desire. So your goal is to create attention within the reader, the potential customer who's reading your sales page. You want to create attention within them, and then you want your product to fulfill the desire that gets created by that tension. So basically, you want to create attention. You want them to understand that your product relieves that tension, that it helps them to reach their desired state, so that, and then you get them to act as in buying the product. So create attention, make them feel discomfort, make them realize that your product can solve that discomfort, satisfy their desire, and then lead them into the purchase. So here is where I'm going to go into now specific ways to help convert people. Basically, these are sort of tactics. So first, you want to forgive their shortcomings. So you're never going to get somebody to buy from you if they feel like you're not on their side. You need the customer, the reader, to feel like you're on their side. Like if you're selling a weight loss product, you don't want to come in and tell them, yeah, you're fat, it's all your fault because you eat junk and you don't exercise, you lazy shit. Like, while that may be the truth, nobody wants to hear that, and they're not going to buy from you when you tell them that. So what you need to do, you need to forgive them for their shortcomings. Usually it's the specific thing that they're coming to fix with your product. You want to forgive them for wherever they are falling short, wherever the issue is. You want to take the blame off of them, and a good thing to do, you can put that blame on your competition. On if you're familiar with Red Ocean, Blue Ocean. Red Ocean is kind of like all the companies, competitors out there that are already out there and already established, trying to solve a problem. So like the weight loss industry has a lot of Red Ocean already. So and when you get into Blue Ocean, that's kind of niching off and creating your new unique way to solve their problem. So what you might do in a weight loss situation, you'd come on and you'd say, you'd acknowledge that they have this problem that they want to solve, and then what you do is you forgive them. You say, hey, I know you're not happy with your weight right now, but it's not your fault. The reason that you're overweight is because of all these weight loss companies selling you false information. All these companies are incentivized to keep you overweight. If you actually lost the weight and kept it off, then they would not be able to continue making money off you. How would these magazines with their 10-day belly blast headlines keep selling magazines if they actually gave you a solution that fixed the problem? They don't care about you. They just want to make money off of you and keep you fat. So that's how you could come at forgiving them for their shortcomings, and also kind of stepping over onto their side, putting your arm around them and saying, hey, it's me and you against them. Like, I'm on your side here. You've been screwed over by the industry, by the bad guys, and I'm here to help you and protect you. So that is a great way to come at that. Let's see. Next, we've got selling with fear. So here are the 4 steps to selling with fear. Step 1, you legitimately need to scare the hell out of people, and it should be a widely recognized fear. If it's something odd, some oddly specific thing that nobody's ever heard of or knows about, they're probably not that concerned about it since they've never heard about it before. Now, on the flip side, something like being mugged, like that's a widely recognized fear. So, getting mugged in a dark alley or something like that, that would be widely recognized. Whereas some oddly specific bacteria that you can get in some river in Africa, nobody's probably heard of it. They're probably not that worried about protecting themselves from that fear, so that's not a good angle to go with. It should be something that people already are aware of. And it should legitimately be something that really scares people, because otherwise they don't have any incentive to actually solve the problem. So that's one way that I see fear selling being misused, is when it's not really that scary of a thing, and you really don't, it's never been an issue. You're not concerned about it. You've never been concerned about it. So, it doesn't really scare you. So then it's not really a strong motivator to make you act. But so you want it to be legitimately scary. You want to offer then a specific recommendation to overcome that threat, and that recommended action should be perceived by the reader as effective at eliminating or reducing the threat. So they need to actually believe that the solution that you're giving to them will actually fix the problem, will reduce or eliminate that threat. And then lastly, they should believe that they can perform the recommended action. So something like, say getting mugged in the dark alley. That is something that, say especially like a woman would be afraid of. So you could bring that fear out in somebody, and then now say that your recommended action is the Krav Maga or karate class or something that you teach, so that they are equipped to defend themselves. Now this is good. It's got a specific recommended action that, and you can get them to perceive that it's effective, maybe with statistics or something like that, saying, about the effectiveness of self-defense training. Now, this is where something like number 4 comes into place. The recipient should believe that they can perform the recommended action. So if they think, I don't know how to, that's too out of reach for me. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to learn how to do karate, or, I'm out of shape. Like this isn't the solution for me. Like, that's where you have to be able to overcome that piece, where they need to be able to believe that they have the ability to actually use your product. So it's basically going to be, there's a fear, your product solves that fear. They need to believe that your product actually does solve that fear or threat, and then lastly, they need to believe not only that your product works to solve the problem, but that they have the ability to use it, that they personally will be able to use it. So fear of loss is about the strongest motivator that humans have. So if you can get the people to really imagine losing something or someone they love, that can be a very, very strong motivator to get somebody to act. All right, so next slide here is selling to the ego. So this is another really big one. So what you do when you're selling to the ego, you want your brand or your product to have an image or identity around it that is that speaks to the desires of your target audience. So a couple examples of brands that have it's really solid identities built around them would be like Victoria's Secret, or back in the day the Marlboro Man, for the cigarettes. So these images, they should speak to a core desire, either directly or indirectly. So like the way this works with the Marlboro Man is, basically people see that as guys who smoke Marlboros are tough and rugged, based on that cowboy image of the Marlboro Man. So guys who smoke them are tough and rugged. Women like tough and rugged men. I want women to like me, so I'll smoke Marlboros. And then that ties back to the Life Force 8 desires of, apparently I can't type here. I don't know what I was typing there. Sex and status. So like relationships, improving your relationship status, your sexual status, and elevating, basically elevating your status and making yourself more sexually appealing would be the desires that you're indirectly basically going for with that image. So so the customer should identify with that image and identity as being in alignment with their image or being able to improve their image. So in like the Marlboro example, the customer base that you're trying to relate to and reach should align with the image you're going for. So you're going to want to be going for guys who already feel like they're tough and rugged, or you're going to want to go for guys who think by becoming tough and rugged that would improve their image. So you got to understand who your customer believes that they are currently, and what they believe about themselves to be true. So a good way to get good at writing towards generalizations is looking at horoscopes. They're very, very good at being general and vague while still feeling personal. That the writing styles are in a way, whether you're a Leo, a Taurus, a Cancer, whatever they all are, you feel like you're getting this personalized information to you based on what day you were born, I guess. So it feels personalized in that matter, but you have to think these writers that are writing horoscopes, they're writing this to millions of people who were born in that month or whatever the dates are. So they have to write this thing that feels like, oh yeah, it's personal for us Tauruses, this information, but it's specific to us, but at the same time it's being written to millions of people, so it's really not very specific to you. But that's a great way to kind of understand how to do that type of writing that feels personal, but is still very broad in general. And when you're doing this selling to the ego, images that you use and your writing voice are very important. So your images need to align with the goal identity. So if you're going for a Victoria's Secret image, where the desire is women want to look, sexy, and the guys like these sexy women in sexy lingerie, so they want the guys to like them, so they buy Victoria's Secret, right? So with that whole image that you're trying to portray, you're not going to want to show a 70-year-old saggy woman in underwear. That doesn't align with the image. You want some young, sexy, hot-looking woman in lingerie that aligns with the goal identity that your ideal customers are going after. And your writing voice or style needs to reflect that also. So if you're speaking to a bunch of young 20-something girls, you should sound like a young 20-something girl. You shouldn't sound like, a lumberjack. So that you need to have the voice down as well, which can be difficult if you're trying to write to an audience that that you are not. If you're trying to sell to young 20-something girls and you're a 30-year-old guy, that's can be more difficult. So what you should be doing in those scenarios, you need to go and you need to find your target audience. You need to go find where they hang out. Online is an easy one. Go to websites, forums, groups, and just go look through. See how they talk. See what they say. Look at the language they use. Learn, study them. And then you can learn how they talk, how they type, what their interests are, what they're concerned about. It's super, super helpful to go in and dive into these audiences online, find your target audiences, and study them. And then let's see. So part 2 here, focus on desirable characteristics. So physical attractiveness, intelligence, economic success, sexual prowess. So these are the characteristics when you're selling to ego that you should be going after. This is what your brand, these are the kind of things that your brand should be embodying. The image that your brand is portraying should focus on desirable characteristics that your target customer wants as their own characteristics. So let's see here. So people who already believe they possess these characteristics will want your product to publicize their image or ego. So if they've already believed they're already in possession of these qualities that your brand represents, they're going to want to buy your product so that they can publicize, so they can let everybody know, that they have these traits that your product embodies. Now, people who don't believe that they have these characteristics yet, but they want them, they'll buy your product to appear as if they have them. So the guy who wants to feel tough and rugged, he doesn't truly in his heart really believe he's tough and rugged yet, but that's how he wants to be perceived because he thinks that will make him, increase his status, maybe get him more sex, whatever. Those core desires, he thinks that those core desires will be better fulfilled if he has these characteristics. He'll go buy those Marlboro cigarettes so that he appears to have those same traits that the product embodies. So I think that covers that pretty well. Another tactic is to transfer credibility. So basically, you want to come in making a strong promise that you're going to fulfill to the customer, but all the promises in the world don't mean anything if people don't believe them. So some good ways to transfer credibility to your product or your brand is to find somebody famous or somebody well respected in your industry, and find a quote from them. If they talked about, a certain technology that your product uses, they don't have to have ever said anything specific about your product. Like I know, for the most part, everybody here is drop shipping, so, you probably aren't going to get a quote from some celebrity talking about your product. But what you can do is if a celebrity or somebody well respected in whatever industry you're selling in has, said things about, say, the technology your product uses, an ingredient in your product, you can still use that information, and that has the ability to transfer some of that person's authority to your product, even though they weren't necessarily speaking directly about your product. So for an example here, if your product contains whatever special plant thing, in your skincare cream or whatever, you could say, find a quote that says, special plant has been shown to reduce all your problems by 90% from Dr. Oz, whoever, obviously I'm making this stuff up, but find somebody in your industry, a celebrity, whatever, who has a quote about the technology your product uses, something in it, something about it, something that you can pull to show some authority from a name people recognize, that demonstrates a benefit about your product. So, product health related, find a quote from a doctor that supports your product, find a picture of the doctor that had. So, so it's something like this. If you found something from Dr. Oz that talked about an ingredient in your skincare, product that is, some great ingredient, find the quote, put it up there in quotes, put the name, find a picture of them, put the picture next to it, and now all of a sudden you've got, some authority of Dr. Oz next to your product, even though he never really talked about your product. Next is bandwagoning. So there's 3 types of groups. The common bandwagoning you kind of just think is, oh, everybody's doing it, why aren't you doing it? You should be doing it too. But there's actually more to that, more than just that to bandwagoning. So there are 3 types of groups with bandwagoning. Group 1 is groups that you want to belong to. You're not there, but you'd like to belong to them. Number 2, groups that share your beliefs and values. So these are groups that you're already aligned with, groups that you already feel a part of. And third type of groups are groups that you do not want to belong to. These are people who have values different from yours that you do not want to belong to these groups. So the first one, groups you aspire to be in, would be like, Shaun White uses this type of snowboard. I want to be like Shaun White because he's a great snowboarder, so I'm going to buy the same kind of snowboard. So that would be like an aspirational type group where you use, say, a celebrity endorsement or somebody basically who is above you in whatever field or above your average customer in whatever field that they would like to be like. Second type is like, people that they already feel like they're a part of that. So, or they want to, hold a little more closely to those beliefs as well. So, like this one would be, if you guys are familiar with Jif peanut butter, I don't know if it's how common it is outside of the U.S., but Jif Peanut Butter's slogan, or at least it was for the longest time, is "Choosy moms choose Jif." So that is, if I'm a mom, I want to be, a choosy mom that is, that only accepts the best for my child. I'm choosy for my child. So choosy moms choose Jif. So, moms want to relate to that. They want to have that. They want to share those beliefs and values of choosy moms who only want the best for their children. So that would be an example of number 2. And number 3 would be groups that you do not want to belong to. So this is kind of like polarizing yourself away from groups that you don't want to associate with. So that would be something like, Republicans watch Fox. We don't like Republicans, so we watch CNN instead. If you're advertising for CNN or whoever, I don't know what I know Republicans and Fox are aligned, but I don't know what the Democratic news station is. But that would be something like that. You isolate the group that you don't want to be a part of, and you say, what they're doing, and you say, yeah, we don't want to be like them, so so join us over here in what we're doing. Another thing is future pacing. So what future pacing is, it's getting your customers into the future in their mind. That you want them to imagine using your product and imagine what it would be like to be able to use your product, what it would do for them. You want to be painting a vision in their mind about what it will be like, what the benefits will be like, what kind of results they're going to get, how it's going to feel to use the product, what will change about their life, how will their life improve. And you want to get them in their mind to put themselves into the future where they're using your product and achieving the desired result of the product. So there's a quote that like the first time you ever the customer ever uses your product is in their mind. So like before they ever use your product buying it, they're gonna use it mentally. They're gonna imagine themselves using it. So that's another point for making sure you use like lifestyle pictures. You want people to be able to imagine it, and you want to be able to use detailed words, adjectives, be very descriptive in your copy that you can paint an image in their mind about what it's going to be like. Another thing is making things easy to read. So this is just simply if your message doesn't ever get comprehended by the reader, then there's no way in hell that they're ever going to buy from you if they never understood your message in the first place. So ideally you want to use simple words. Don't this is not a time to flex your intellectual capacity. Nobody cares how smart you are. They want simple language, easy to use. They want to expel as little brain power as possible to understand your message. So just make it so that they have to do as little thinking as possible to be able to absorb your message. And you do that by using simple words, short sentences. Now you don't want to use all 5-word sentences in a row. You can, vary it up, but it can be good, especially in the beginning of a paragraph, to lead in with some shorter word sentences that get people starting to read, and it eases them in. It's just easier for people to read shorter sentences, simple words. Bullet points are another good one. What happens is people don't generally read your entire copy. They won't. Most people are not going to read through your whole page. So you want to make it, for one, as easy as possible for them to read so that they do read more. And for two, you want to focus on things like bullet points, headlines, things that they're more likely to read, and make sure you hit those with good information, good benefits, good selling points, the things that people are going to read and look at, like images, pictures, bullet points, I guess images, pictures, same thing, but bullet points, headlines, things like that, things that are going to stand out. You want to make sure you focus on as well. Now, scarcity and urgency. So you want to create the fear of missing out. You want to create the FOMO in people so that they feel like if they don't act now, then they're going to miss out. So scarcity, scarcity and urgency, they're different. Scarcity is like something that is rare or exclusive, limited edition. You can use like selling out fast, just back in stock, while supplies last. So scarcity kind of gives the feel that there aren't a whole lot of what you have available for whatever reason. Maybe because they sell out quick because everybody wants them. Maybe they're expensive and you only make a certain amount of them. So that's kind of the feeling you want with scarcity, is that it's rare, it's exclusive. That only certain select people get these, that kind of thing. And urgency, that's more of hey, time's running up, better act fast. So this would be stuff like offer ends soon, offer ends at midnight. Having a countdown timer with when the offer expires, or a stock counter showing there's only like 9 left in stock right now. So that's going to get somebody to, or try to get somebody to act fast. So it's things like that cause people to line up around the block for a product, like Black Friday sales, sneakers, like the Jordans and stuff like that, or the Yeezys, all that. Those are things that had major scarcity. There were only limited numbers of them. People wanted them. They were in high desire. And the best way, if you can create scarcity and urgency without having to even say it, that's the best case scenario. When you don't even have to say anything and they already know. Like when there's some new Jordans coming out and they're going to be on limited release, and you got all these kids lining up around the block, around the sneaker stores. You got people on the online waiting lists on Nike to be able to purchase, like those kind of things. Nike doesn't need to go out and say only this many, only this many, only this many, come get them quick. Like people already know, people are already there, and they're like, Nike doesn't have to do a damn thing to get you to come out and buy those shoes. They're going to sell out within seconds already. So that's the best. Now, the second best way, I believe, is to not come right out and say it, because that's when it starts to feel a little spammy, and I think that's really overdone in a lot of drop shipping, is the scarcity and urgency. All the badges and timers, and like it just starts to feel spammy. So I think the best way to do it, if you don't have the clout like Nike, is to say it without saying it. Say it so that they feel it, but you didn't come outright and say, oh, you better hurry up, So I think a couple good ways to do that would be like, just back in stock. Say, just back in stock. That's not real forceful, but it puts the image in somebody's mind that you were out of stock. Okay, they must have been out of stock. Now they're back in stock. Oh, maybe they'll run out of stock again soon. Maybe I should buy it now in case they run out of stock again. And that goes through their mind without you saying that. All you had to say was just back in stock. Or limit 3 per customer. Say you're having a sale and you say limit 3 per customer. That makes somebody's mind go, oh, okay, all right, I'm only allowed to get 3 of these when I buy. Like, maybe I should pick up an extra one. Maybe I should buy 3. Maybe, or at least maybe I should hurry up and get them before this sale ends, because they're limiting how many people can actually buy. So those are a couple ways I like to do it. Now, I kind of talked about this one, painting a vision in their mind. So in your copy, you want to be very descriptive, use adjectives, be specific, and include their senses, touch, taste, feel, smell, all that, So you want to like really get into somebody's head and get them imagining what it would be like to to have your product and what it's going to bring to them, the benefits it's going to bring to them. And you can also use this really well to paint a vision on the downsides. Now, you don't want to come in and attack people because you want to be on their side and be their friend. But a good way to do this is using a story, like from somebody else or you or whatever. I hated how I felt so overweight and seeing, the bulge come out over my pants and not being able to button my pants and feeling winded after going up a flight of stairs. You can use that in the story of you or somebody else with that, and they'll be able to relate to it, but you're not coming out and attacking them. That's a good way to paint this negative vision so they feel and can relate to, first the negative situation that they're in without you coming out and attacking them. Let's see. Now, if your product needs explaining, I know a lot of things are with dropshipping can be kind of technical, gadgety type things. So if your product needs explaining, explain it. And explain it in layman's terms, in simple terms. Make it as easy to understand and comprehend as possible. Like, one of the main rules of advertising is that a confused mind does not buy. So if somebody is confused about what your product is, your offer is, what it does, how it's going to help them, they're not going to buy. They need to understand before they buy. So GIFs can work great for this, for product descriptions. In videos, I probably wouldn't use as much because people don't tend to they just don't tend to like to watch videos like on a product page, sales page. They don't like to watch videos as much. But if you can put a GIF on the page that goes through and, is like a 5-second GIF that shows how the product works in, a very simple display, that can help a lot. Or an image series like this. I just found something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like how to use chopsticks. So like a step-by-step kind of like that. If you can show like four little pictures or something like that, that's step 1, 2, 3, 4, how to use your product, that or GIF, that can work great. But if your product requires an explanation and your average person is not going to know what it is or what it does, you have to be explaining it. People need to understand what it does, how it works. They don't need the technical details, but they need to understand what it's going to do for them and how it does it. Now, this is getting into the offer. Now, this is getting into some Russell Brunson stuff. So this is like, why should people buy from you? Especially in drop shipping, when you most of the time you do not have a unique product. It's usually sourced from AliExpress. There's 100 other places to go and buy it from other people, other drop shippers, Amazon, eBay, whatever. There's a million places to buy it. So, why should they buy from you? Now, a great way to differentiate yourself is to go from a product to an offer. And I'll explain that coming up here. So, a simple way to explain that is not to decrease price to compete, you increase value. So you differentiate yourself and you increase value, make it feel like you are the only place to get this offer, this deal. So instead of just selling a product, you need to increase the value around that so that you're not like everybody else. And I'll go into that here in a minute. Now, another thing you want to lead is with a big promise. So a lot of times this is good to do in like the first headline of your sales copy is having a big leading promise, which is simply what is the product going to do for them? What is the big, main, juicy benefit that the customer is going to receive by buying your product? And you want to be able to simplify this down to one sentence, ideally into like a 12-word or less headline. And a good format to use is the benefit they will receive without the pain or hassle that they don't want. So it would be something like lose 20 pounds without going to the gym. Lose 20 pounds without starving yourself. Lose 20 pounds without having to exercise. Like the benefit that they want without the pain, hassle, discomfort thing that they think they have to go through to get that benefit. So the headlines are very important. So most people will read your headline, but most people will not read your your main sales body copy. And the better your headline is, the more people you can get to read your copy. But mainly, your headline is what's going to get read most of the time, and a lot of times not much else. So it's very, very, very important to make sure your headline is good. So what a good method is like I said, the big promise, and also you want to make sure that your headline is calling out to the person you're trying to attract. So don't just say like feel better overnight. Like, like, what does that mean? How am I going to feel better? Feel better from what? Like, is this going to help me lose weight? Is this going to help me relieve my constipation? Like, what is this? If you're selling something that fixes constipation, start out with it. Constipated? ? Like, call out to the person that you're trying to attract. Don't be vague. Call right out to them. So same thing I had said before. Use that first headline to make the big promise. Benefit without pain. And you want to keep it as short as possible while still delivering the message. You want to make sure you can get the message out, but don't fluff it up, make it longer than it needs to be. Get to the point. So ideally, you're looking at 12 words or less for your headline. Now, what you want to do, especially with the headline and the beginning copy, you want to meet the customer where they're at. So this is Eugene Schwartz's levels of customer awareness. So how aware they are of your product, the solution, the problem. So do they already know about you and your product? Have you already advertised to them? Are you retargeting to them? If so, you want to be leading with your product. In your headline, in your images, in your copy, you want to be leading with the product. If they already know about your product, lead with the product. If they're not aware of your product, but they're already aware of the result that they want, lead with that result that they're desiring. So don't know your product, but they know what they want. Lead with that desire that they want, and then lead them into your product solving that desire. And if they're not even aware of the desire, are they aware that they have a problem? Are they problem aware? So if that's the case, lead with the problem that they're having, relate and sympathize to the problem, and then you work your way into making them aware of the solution, and then your product, how your product is the solution to their problem. So you want to meet the customer where they're at. If they're not even aware they have a problem, you don't want to be throwing your product in their face. You need to meet the customer where they're currently at. And this can depend on your funnel and where you're targeting, how common of a problem it is, how well known it is, how well known the solutions out there are, your type of product is. So it'll depend on your industry for one, and who you're targeting for two. Are you retargeting people? Are you hitting a cold audience? Those are going to determine where the customer's at and where you need to meet them. Now these are some core things from Russell Brunson that I really like. Basically, people are going to have three types of beliefs / objections. They're first around your product, then they become internal and external, which we'll get to next. But first, they're going to have questions about your product. And mainly, it's like, does this product actually work? Does it do what it says that it does? What if the product doesn't work? Is there a guarantee? So you need to put yourself in the mind of the customer, and you need to come on and say, okay, if I am completely unaware of this product, that I now see that it's claiming does this thing, put yourself in the mind of the consumer. What questions are they going to ask? What are they going to be skeptical about? They're going to say, does this thing work? Does it actually work? What if it doesn't work? Do I get my money back? And those are things that you need to be then addressing. So first step people have, first objections and beliefs people have are usually around the product itself. And once you can get past those, once you can address those, and so ways to do this would be testimonials, things like that, proof, science, quotes. There's different ways to get past these. But first thing people are going to do is they're going to question your product and if it actually works and what if it doesn't. And then once they believe that your product works, they're basically they go then to internal beliefs or objections. So it's kind of like, okay, I believe that the product works, but will it work for me? You know, so will I be able to have success with this product? How will this affect my status? How will others perceive me? Which is really big. So this can be a really big one, you know, like, what is buying this product? How is this going to change how others view me? And that can massively affect whether or not somebody buys something. And they may have insecurities, fears about themselves. Like when I was doing this course for you guys, you know, some of you guys, a big internal belief, especially with like marketing and if you're selling courses or something like that, is people will say, okay, yeah, you did it, you got the result, but what about, I don't know if I can do it, you know, you're you, you know, yeah, okay, you're you, but I don't know if I can do it. So those are internal beliefs. So you need to be able to get the person to believe not only that your product works, but you need to get them to believe that they have the ability to have success with it. So they have to go through these questions. Am I smart enough to be able to get the result? Am I capable enough? Am I worthy enough? You know, some people just don't feel like they're worthy enough for certain things, especially if they're higher end things or something like that. They just don't believe that they're worth it. And then how it aligns with their identity. That's another one with the internal, you know. So with identity, it's like, am I the kind of person who buys this kind of product? You know, you need to, this kind of goes back to the ego selling. You know, they need to believe that the kind of person they are is the kind of person who buys this kind of product. So these you can overcome with your sales message and your offer. So I'm going to get into this in a little bit, but you know, if there's some sort of internal struggle they have, what can you include to help? You know, in the case of selling, like, you know, a course or something like that, if they go, yeah, you know, I want to be able to sell dropship on Pinterest, you know, but I don't know if I have the ability to, what, you know, so I would want to think, what can I do to help? These people would go, yeah, you know, all right, you know, I know how to look at products, pick up products, say that, but I'm not very good at writing or selling, you know, I'm not good at that. So then I can say, okay, what can I do? What can I include with my offer that's going to overcome that objection, that belief that they have, that limiting belief they have about themselves? I can say, okay, well, I'm going to include a section that teaches you how to sell, you know. Okay, you're worried, you know, you don't think you can sell on Pinterest because you don't have good sales skill and copywriting skill. Don't worry, I'll teach you how to do that. No problem. All right, now we're past that. So those are kind of things like, what can you include to help overcome these objections people have about why they won't be able to do it? And your goal is going to be to get them to their identity to align with the product. So am I the kind of person who buys this kind of product? You need that answer to be yes. So, and then lastly, they'll go to external. And this is, do I have the time for this? Do I have the money for this? Am I going to be getting locked into a contract? What if my spouse doesn't support me? Which that could kind of go to internal as well. But what if I have questions? Am I going to be able to get help if I have questions? Will somebody be available? Will I be able to reach somebody? So these are like external factors. So these are kind of the steps that people generally go through. The first, they'll question your product. Then they'll question after you overcome that, and they believe your product says what it does. Then they'll question themselves. And then lastly, they'll question external factors. So you gotta be able to overcome all of these. And the best way to do that, for one, you want to know what the main things are. You know, you don't want to spend your whole time focusing on, you know, something about the product when nobody was even wondering that in the first place, and you're focused all on an objection that nobody even has. So you really want to know, what are the main objections that people have, and you want to take those and you want to tackle them head on on your sales page. So good way to find the actual objections, one is you can ask, like, if you have a big following on on Facebook, Instagram for your page or something like that, you could ask people, you know, like, what's the biggest question you have about our product? What's the biggest concern you have about our product? And people will tell you. Or you can, a lot of times you can just look at the comments and people will straight up tell you what they, a lot of the gadgets and stuff. If there's a bunch of comments saying like, no way, this doesn't work, this won't work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's probably a pretty big objection you need to overcome, that people don't believe that it actually works. So another thing you can do, paid surveys. There's ways to do paid surveys where you can ask people for their opinions and thoughts on products. And then another thing I like to do is there's an app called Lucky Orange, which is like, it's like Hotjar or anything like that, where it's a ScreenFlow recording program, so you can see your users and how they move throughout your website. So you can see all their scrolling, their clicking. You can see everything they do on your site and see how they interact on your website. And with this app called Lucky Orange that I use, you can also chat with customers. So you can initiate a chat, or you can just say be available. So what I like to do is do like an initiate chat on there, where after like 30 seconds of them being on the store, it'll pop up on the bottom of their screen and say, do you have any questions? So most people, just X out of it or whatever. But like the people who do have questions, they'll ask the questions, and then you can learn like what are the common questions people have. What are they trying to figure out about it? And if there's a common question that people are asking, that is something that you need to address on in your copy. So then once you know the questions, the objections that people have about your product, you need to overcome them. So you can do that in your copy, in your writing. You can do that with images, videos, GIFs, before and afters, product video, GIFs. Like I said, I would focus more for drop shipping on probably GIFs than videos, but you can use that to show how the product works, to overcome objections. I really like an FAQ. I think this one is way not utilized enough. You can use an FAQ to sell. So, in your first question of the FAQ can be, does this product really do X? And then your answer is, yes, we've got, all these testimonials and a doctor said so, and you can use your FAQ to directly overcome objections. Find the questions that people are asking that are also like objections that people have, and you can directly overcome them with your FAQ. So you take the question people have, and then you answer it in a positive way that sells your product. Another thing is customer testimonials will help overcome objections, and like if you offer a guarantee or warranty, that can help to overcome objections as well. So, but mainly, first thing, you got to know what they are. What are these, product-based internal and external objections that people have, and then you need to overcome them. Since we're not typically having a two-way dialogue, unless you're doing like a chat or something like that, but with most people who come on your store, you don't have the ability to have a two-way dialogue with them. So you need to basically answer all these questions that people have before they even ask them. And like I said, I really love doing an FAQ section for that. And what I like to do is even put that right on the main page. You can do it on a separate page, but then you got people clicking around, blah, blah, blah. Like, I like to try to keep people focused on the main page and have as little other options for them as possible. Like, you don't want to have, click here to like our Facebook page, click here to like our Instagram, click here to read our blog, click here to do this. Like, unless that's what you want, unless your goal is to grow your Facebook page or grow your Instagram page, then if that's your goal, then do that. But if your goal is to sell stuff, then don't do that. If your goal is to sell stuff, sell stuff. Keep them on the page. Give them as little other options as possible. Basically, get them to your page and make it so their options are buy the product or leave the page. Like, don't have them the option to go browse around, do a million other things. Cut all that stuff out. Leave it with two options: buy the product or leave the page. And all right, so that covers that. So then bundles and upsells. So this is how you can really help to differentiate yourself. So you can, and this is very, very underused in dropshipping. Way underused. It's highly used in info products, but it's very underused in dropshipping. So what you can do is you can bundle your physical dropshipping products. You can bundle them with other physical products. You can bundle them with digital products, ebooks, audiobooks, things like that cost like nothing to fulfill but increase value. That's widely used in info marketing, but really not in physical product dropshipping. So that is something I would do if I were you guys. And what you can do is you ask yourself, what problems does your product create? So, obviously your product is solving a problem. Product is solving a problem for the customer, but at the same time, when they buy your product, they're gonna have new problems that they never had before. So, like, say your product, this is just a real basic one, but say your product takes batteries. Well, now they need batteries. So how can you solve that? Well, maybe you include rechargeable batteries with that. So these are like, come up with a list of the problems that your product creates when they buy that. Does it need batteries? Does it need extra additional information? Can you offer an ebook that gives them the extra information? Those are all things that you need to go through and come up with a list of all the problems that your product creates and which ones can you solve and how can you solve them. So what you can do then is you can, like I was talking, info products are great to add alongside a digital product. So you can do like these, and then what you do is you go on Fiverr or Upwork and you get a bundle image made. So they'll like create some fake like either ebook covers or like programs, screen captures, that kind of stuff. So what you can do then, put an ebook along with your physical product that is, say you're selling a skincare cream, something like that, and what you want to do is you want to give good names. So build curiosity with like the name of your digital product with it. So if it's an ebook, make them want to know what's inside. So you could say, if you're selling a skincare product, you could just say include a free skincare guide book. That's not very appealing. Think about that name, skincare guide, versus ultimate skincare secrets. How to get glowing skin without all the harsh chemicals, or how to get glowing skin without using 30 products. Or like basically benefit without pain. And using something like ultimate secrets, like it's words matter. Like words matter. So this is going to get somebody a whole lot more interested in wanting to know what's in this book than skincare guide or skincare tips. Like something like that. Use a good name that makes people really want the. Even if this is a free bonus, you'll get people who will buy the physical product more so because they want the ebook and they want to know what's in the ebook. And that costs you like nothing to fulfill. And what you can do PLR, which is it's private label rights. So what you can do, you can buy PLR content, and basically what it means is that you can reuse this content and sell it for your own uses. So say you want there's all sorts of sites like this too. Say you want like weight loss. Say you want say your stuff is on weight loss. So 25 unrestricted teen loss articles, articles. There's other ones that have all sorts of ebooks, also ebooks, audiobooks, and these are things that are already created and written that you can buy the license for and you can resell them. So you can take these things that were already created and you can resell them, and a lot of times they are super, super cheap, the rights to these things. So like let's see, if we want to go weight loss and fitness, how to keep off excess weight going into the fall. So like these things, these is credits and stuff. Anyways, I don't want to go too deep into this. You guys can go through and find what's relevant for you. But PLR, you can find like a 30-40 page ebook a lot of times for like $10-15 that you can buy the rights to, and you can edit it, you can change the cover, you can leave it as is, you can put your name as the author, you can do whatever you want with them, and you have the rights to be able to resell them, and you can buy the book with the rights to resell it a lot of times for like $10-15. So that is a great way to add a digital, something digital in with your physical product that you can bundle. So find something that find a problem that your product creates by buying it, and then find a way to solve that and include that in as a bundle, or you can include that as an upsell. But bundling things can be a great way to differentiate yourself, and so that you're not like that same person that's selling that same product. Like, now yours is not just that product. Now yours also is this this information or whatever that comes with it. It's a bundle now. It increases in value. So that way you have the ability to not have to undercut your prices. You, instead of dropping your price, raise your value, include more stuff with it. And digital stuff you can get for very cheap, and once you own like the rights, it costs you nothing to include it in with your offers. So that is what I would do. And then another thing, just focus on your images on your website. You want to make sure you have good images that are high quality. You want to be using lifestyle images because you want your target customer, to be able to imagine themselves using the product. And when it's just a picture of the product on a white background, that doesn't really do much to spark the imagination. When it's a picture of somebody using your product and smiling and happy and loving the product, like, that does a whole lot more to get somebody's mind into around using the product. And use your avatar as well. Like, if you know that the majority of people who buy your product are 25-year-old women, well, show women in their 20s in your pictures using your product. Don't show a 50-year-old man if your main demographic is 20-year-old women. So this is pretty much that. So make sure you guys got good images, lifestyle images that follow the demographics of your avatar. And this is the last slide here. So just kind of recap, focusing on headlines, images and GIFs, bullet points, benefits, not features, and then you want to make one big promise at the start, and the rest of your job, after you make that big promise, the rest of your job is to get them to believe that promise. So that about covers everything that I have for you guys on selling. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, Mike Harry here. So I wanted to record this video for you guys. I still have not heard back from the AliExpress supplier about the blankets, so I'm not going to actually launch these ads, but I want to go through just so you guys have step by step how I would launch a campaign. So first thing here is at the campaign level. This is where we're at. We're going to want to do conversions, and then you can name your campaign here. I could call it blanket. Let's see. We're going to do add to cart conversions. I like to put the date on them. So, and here you can go into spend limits on the campaign and lifetime spend limits. So once the campaign hits a certain spend, that it would stop. But I don't like to set any lifetime spend limits. I like to do it on a daily basis. And my rep had told me not to set any daily spend limits at the campaign level, to do everything at the ad set level. Said something about it working better with the algorithm. So I'll just take his word for that. So you can name your ad group here, and so we could do an certain interest targeting with these blankets. So let's see what we have here. What would be good with blankets? Probably home decor would probably be a good one, I would think. So if we click on home decor and then we open it up so we can go down a level, and then what you're going to want to do is to unselect one of these level 2 interests so that you'll be able to see a breakdown later of each of these and its individual performance. And you cannot do that unless you unselect one of these. It's one of the odd things about Pinterest. So we could say unselect stairs. And then we can also stack keywords. You can do keywords in their own ad group, or you could stack keywords and interest together within the same ad group. So if I wanted to do it, I could search for something like blanket, and then you can see the search volume for each of these topics. So you can start adding them. And if you're going to do search terms, I like to use a lot of them, because even though they say 5 million plus, like Pinterest traffic, it doesn't convert as well as Facebook traffic's going to, so you're going to need a lot more of it. So even if it is getting a decent or a large amount of search volume, you're going to want a lot of keywords in here just to get any substantial amount of volume to drive any decent amount of sales, just because the traffic doesn't convert as well. So I would stack up probably over 100 of these in here, and it keeps count for you there. Now you can break down by gender. For this, I would probably think it's going to be mostly women that would buy this blanket, but at the beginning I would probably leave it open because it's a pretty cool blanket. I think it looks nice. I would consider buying one. Maybe a guy wants to buy it for his wife or girlfriend or whatever. So at the beginning, before, I would say leave, unless you're pretty certain whatever you're selling is very specifically either male or female. I would leave it open at the beginning and let the data tell you. You can take a look at the click-through rates and break those down by male, female once you have some data, and you might be surprised. So as far as ages go, here's what I like to do. I like to just typically select this 21 plus, which in the United States, alcohol sales, you have to be 21 years old. So I believe this is what this is for if you're selling alcohol, or I guess any real age-restricted advertising. But I like to select this box anyways, just because typically 18, 19, 20-year-olds don't have as much extra income to be spending on buying things they don't need from Pinterest ads. So I like to do 21 up and then leave the rest of them, unless like I said, for gender, unless specifically it's going to be a certain age group for what you're selling. I would be open at first, because I've broken down my data before, and every single subset has been profitable. Some more than others, but all of them profitable when I broke them down, like over the long run. So and then as far as locations, now if you're doing like ePacket, you can, instead of going all US, which US by far is the largest traffic source on Pinterest, but there are a lot of other countries with more where you can target more people. So I like to do, what I've been doing lately has been UK, US. Well, it always scrolls up when you do that. New Zealand. I've been doing Germany, Australia, Canada. So I've been doing those 6 countries, and I've gotten sales from Germany from doing that. So there's a lot of English speakers in Germany, but if you want to be certain you're targeting English, then you can just also add English as a layer selection. I like to leave all devices. You can break down if you like to. I like to leave them all, but you can do a breakdown later if you want to see if certain ones are performing better than others. And then add group placement. So what this is say these keywords here. If you want your ad to show up right when somebody searches for that, they search the term and then they're scrolling down, and that's when you want it to show up specifically, then you'd put this on search. Or if you just want, when they're browsing their home feed, they didn't necessarily search for anything on Pinterest, they're just scrolling around, you want to be in the browse. or you can be an all, which is what they recommend, and that's what I would do. Might as well take advantage of all of it. I don't like to do expanding targeting. What expanding targeting does, to my knowledge, is in your pin description, it can expand to add new targeting areas based on the words in your description. So if it identifies certain words and phrases and things like that, it can put you into other put your ad in front of other audiences based on those. I don't like to do that because I don't really know exactly what it's doing, so I unselect that. And then so for these add to carts, what I would recommend doing is, it depends on what your price, what you can afford. So like on these blankets, I could definitely afford like a $40, assuming most people would be buying the larger ones, which is what I would be running the sale towards and everything. I would be able to afford definitely a $40 cost per purchase without losing money. So, and like I was saying before, that's why I like to choose products that have good size margins on them, because it's just harder in general to try to run profitable ad campaigns if you've only got a $10 profit margin or a $20 profit margin. So so what I would go is, and say I would ballpark that for every 4 or so, for me lately it's been 4 to 5 add to carts per purchase. So, but your results may vary on that. But so what I would be doing is, say for about a $40 cost per purchase, it would be probably roughly about a $10 add to cart per add to cart. And then for here, you're going to want to go, at least 5 times what this is. So you would ideally be getting 5 add to cart conversions per day. And if you try to put under it, it'll recommend you go higher, typically. Oh, wait. I guess it didn't this time. A lot of times it'll pop up a thing and tell you to go higher for the recommended. But anyways, so what I would be doing per ad group here is doing figure out what you can afford per add to cart, and then times that by 4 to 5 depending on what you're doing. But they recommended, and that would be, so then this would be getting 5 conversions of this per day. Now, according to my rep, 5 to 10 is a good spot to be in. So if we're going for a $10 cost per purchase, daily budget of like 50 to 100 would be ideal. So and then this is for selecting add to cart. Conversion window, this depends on how you want Pinterest to allocate the conversions, so and optimize for it as well, as it says. So these numbers are based on days after they clicked your ads, after they engaged, and after they view. So just if they're scrolling through, if it could allocate for that. Now, so this kind of depends on how long your buying cycle is for your customers. If you have something expensive, it's probably a longer buying cycle. You're definitely going to want to keep it on the 30, 30, 30. If you got something with a real short buying cycle and a lot of impulse buys, you might want to do like a 777. So now here's where you come down and you create your ads. So I had a few videos that I put together. This is the style of video that I would recommend for an ad. This is what's been working for me, this style. So where you go short clips, like 3 to 5 seconds or so per clip, stitch them all together, do a text overlay over the top, and I forgot to trim off the Animoto because I used the cheaper of their paid versions, so they brand it at the end, and then I just use Camtasia to clip it off. But I forgot to do that. But anyways, I'm not going to launch it right now, actually, anyways, so that's fine for now. And then this is where you add your title. And as it shows here, your first 30 characters are what usually shows up in the feed. So as you type, as this gets down to 70, that's about what you're going to be able to see in the feed. So now the most important thing is definitely going to be your video or your image. I've been liking videos, but your video or your image is going to be the most important part about your ad in affecting your click-through rate, which I'm finding to be like the most important aspect of success with Pinterest ads is getting a high click-through rate, because high click-through rates on conversion campaigns lead to low cost per clicks, and the more clicks you can and traffic you can drive, the more money you end up making. The traffic, it's not as optimized and does not convert as well as Facebook, so you just have to drive more of it, and the more you can drive for the cheaper cost per click, the more profitable you can be, and the higher click-through rate you get, the cheaper cost per click you get, and that is very dependent on your video, especially the first clip of your video, I have found. So that is something you want to put a lot of focus and attention into, is you're going to be your video and trying to get as high of a click-through rate as possible. I would try for a 2% plus click-through rate. I've had several ads that I've been able to get above a 2% click-through ad volume. So then you're going to want to come up with some sort of headline. Now, I have kind of two thoughts on this you could try. One would be to try to get people to try to make sure you filter into people's minds that they're clicking onto something where they're going to be made an offer to buy. So they go on in with the intent, not just thinking like, oh, maybe this will show me how to make some of these cool blankets, or maybe it's a do-it-yourself site or something like that. Like, so then you could say something like, save $75 when you buy today, something like that. If I could type, and you can see this counting down, so they would be able to read all of this. Then they should be able to read all of that. So I could do something like that. Save $75 when you buy today. Now, the other thing to test, because as I was saying, click-through rate is super important. You could try to do something that's a little less salesy, or a little less just making them an offer, to try to maybe do something to try to draw curiosity, something kind of clickbaity. I think too clickbaity might not get approved by Pinterest, but you could try to do something that is maybe build some sort of curiosity, or something that really makes people want to just drive clicks, not necessarily that they know that they're going to be going to your site to potentially buy. But if you do that and it drives the click-through rate up, you're going to get cheaper cost per clicks, more traffic overall, and that's probably going to be good overall for you. So in this section is where you put your description. Now, from the feeds, what I've seen is I haven't really seen that it shows up on these. Only when you go into the pin itself, which when it's being promoted as an ad, when they tap on it, it doesn't go to the zoom up where you can read this description about it. When it's being run as an ad, they tap it and it just takes them straight to your website. So I don't even know really if this makes much of a difference. It would definitely make a difference in people, like in your things showing up in search, and if you're trying to do any sort of organic reach and try to get free organic reach and stuff like that, then that would definitely come into effect with what you put in here. So that's, you would want to kind of do using certain keywords if you're trying to show up on certain searches. Make sure you're getting in the right keywords. You can even use hashtags, but I've heard that you only want to use maybe a few, not to stuff it full of hashtags. But anyways, you don't have to put a description there. If you're trying to do organic, definitely would. And then ultimately you want to put the destination URL, and mine is chunkyblanket.com, and then I'd have to create a board here. Just call it Blankets. So then you've got it here. Then you need to click on it, and it'll be red outlined. And then you can create more pins. And then to finish it up, then you just come down here in the corner and you click the launch button. I'm not going to launch this one just because, as I said, I haven't heard back from the supplier still on that, so I don't feel comfortable launching ads for them. But like I just really want to stress, the most important factor that I've been finding is getting a high click-through rate ad so that you can get cheap cost per clicks, because they don't convert as well as Facebook. So you're gonna want to be able to drive more of a volume of traffic. And that's why the more broad appeal that your offer is probably better as well, rather than being a very specific product. It's just because you're going to have harder time getting that sort of targeting, other than using like keywords, which you could probably do that, but you'll just be limited as to how much you can scale while doing that. So that is how I would go about launching campaigns, and then you can create within the campaign multiple ad groups under each campaign. And now what my rep told me is that that learning by the algorithm, it's done on the overall tag level. So as a whole, like kind of pixel, well, for Pinterest, it's their tag. It learns at that level, and then it also learns within each specific ad group. So it doesn't really make a difference if you put all your ad groups under one campaign, or if you had, say, one campaign with one ad group under each one. According to my rep, that wouldn't make a difference. For ease of organization and editing and everything like that, I like to keep everything under one campaign if it's going to be running the same type of conversion objective or just campaign objective overall. So for something like this is what I would do to launch this add to cart campaign. And then after the add to cart, after this, I would probably create one more ad group and maybe another interest, or maybe do more keywords. So that's, you can test that, and you'll just have to see what performs better. And then from there, once you start getting some purchases, what I like to do then is you can start testing, and you can immediately start testing as well, because sometimes I've found that they just perform better. But start testing then the checkout objective, as well as the add to cart, but just with the goal of having your budget of 5 times your target daily CPA. Your target daily budgets should be quite a bit higher for checkout campaigns. So if you're looking at a $40 target cost per checkout, then 5 times that is going to be $200. So you're going to need to run that at $200 a day, ideally, or more. So for starting with lower budgets and testing, I would recommend starting with the add to cart objective. But then once you get rolling, definitely the checkout objective will be your next best friend. And then you can run traffic campaigns for. I wouldn't run traffic campaigns for anything other than retargeting, personally, because they don't convert as well from what I've seen, and they're just, not that the algorithm's great with Pinterest for conversions, like it's not as good as Facebook, but it definitely seems to be a lot better than running a traffic objective. And with traffic objective, the lowest you can bid cost per click is 10 cents. With conversion objectives, since you don't bid per cost per click, you the way it's the campaigns run is based on your target CPA and what I found your CPMs, and what I found is that your cost per click and your CPMs vary greatly based on your click-through rate. So that is why I've been able to get sometimes cost per clicks as low as 2 cents for a while. I've had, run thousands and thousands of clicks at like 4 or 5 cents per click. Now they've been starting to roll back up again around like 9 cents a click lately. But that's just from I get them that cheap because I've got high click through rate ads. But so for running to cold traffic, absolutely you're going to want to use conversion campaigns. Now, what you can do for traffic is create a custom audience that is your add to cart audience, and then what you can do is you can do like add to cart in the last 30 days or 15 days. You can test them. You can create both of them, and then you could do a 30-day, exclude the 15-day, and then another with the 15-day. You can see how they convert compared to each other. But you can do traffic, and then once you are in there, once you're in here, you can choose from an audience. Once you create the audience, you can choose the audience here and target them. So that is what you may want to consider for retargeting is retargeting, and you could try retargeting all web visitors, but I was finding that wasn't even that great because Pinterest drives a lot of traffic, so it's a pretty big audience you can build up with that, and it didn't even perform that great just running traffic to retargeting all website visitors. So I drilled it down just to traffic to add to carts, and that performs very, very well now. But what you can also do, and what I would also suggest, is once you have some good traffic rolling, is to also do a conversion campaign for retargeting. So same thing, but do the conversion campaign with all website visitors in the last 30 days. So create a custom audience of all your website visitors in the last 30 days, and then create a conversion campaign. And I like running it at checkout conversions, and then and it's a large audience, but that has performed very, very well for me, around like a 4 to 500% return on ad spend for that, and it gets a lot more purchases than my traffic campaign retargeting the add to carts. So so that's what I would suggest for retargeting. Create one conversion campaign targeting all website visitors in the last 30 days, and then a traffic campaign targeting all your add to carts in the last 30 days. And then other than that, it's basically you're going to want to be testing these cold audiences, and then targeting the cold audiences, interests, keywords, and then breaking down your data and adjusting accordingly. And if you guys have any questions on anything, just shoot me a message or post in the group, and I'll be happy to help you guys. All right, talk to you later. Hey guys, Mike Harry here. In this video, I wanted to go over how I manage and how I basically manage my spend and work to keep things profitable, basically. So what I'm looking at here is the time frame from February 20th till today, March 3rd. February 20th is when I first started scaling things up pretty rapidly. So I'm just using this whole time frame here over the past however many days this is, 12 days or something like that. So so what I'll do here first, here are all the ad groups that I've got running here, and I sorted it by spend. So what I like to do is come in here, sort by spend, and then the first big breakdown I like to do is gender. So we'll break down by gender here, and then sorting by spend, because wherever you're putting the most money is where you want your attention to be mostly, obviously. So we can see here that in the health interest, we can see that female spent $3,600 in this time frame, and it got a 206% return. great. My break even's around it's about a 1.3 or so, like 130%. Now we can see Mail spent almost $1,800 and it only got a 95% return on ad spend. So that's bad. So I am going to cut Mail out of this ad group. So then what I would want to do, I click on this button, I click next to this. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to go into editing all these right now, but then you click on edit and then that opens up this ad group options, and then you go in and you would unselect male from genders. So you can see that unspecified's doing well, female's doing well, male sucks. So we would take male out of that one. Next one we can do women's fashion here. And I did some of this editing already, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, and cut out some of the ones. So we might see some that are low performance that I may have already cut and are not actually currently spending money anymore. But basically, this is what you want to do. You want to come in, sort by spend. If you got a bunch of ad accounts running, obviously, because cleaning up the highest spend ones first will get you the biggest impact. And then same thing, come down here and we'll look at the next ones here, the return on ad spend. So male again spent $500, obviously mostly female. I think I already cut this one out a few days back, but it was only getting a 103% return on ad spend. So that one would need to be cut. Now if they're like borderline like this, like 131%, that's like pretty close to a break even for me. It's spent almost $4,000 at close to break even. Now it's 56 checkout conversions and 356 add to carts. Now, I feel pretty confident that some of these add to carts and page visitors and that are probably being picked up by my retargeting campaigns. So I'm fine with letting it run at like a break even. If it's running at break even, that's fine with me. I'll take the data. I'll take the data. It's helping to build up my Pinterest tag, and it's learning and getting better. So I'll take that all day. A break even at a high spend or any spend really. I mean, like I'll take a break even. You're probably doing more than break even because of the retargeting. With all those add to carts and clicks and all that stuff. So as long as you got your retargeting set up, if something's breaking even to cold traffic, I'm fine with that. Now, same thing. So 131, 204, 40%. So this is one male again. And, we're in women's fashion here. So male is doing horrible. So this one needs to be cut. In wedding, I just went ham. Like I got, basically what happened is my click-through rate, I started getting like a really good click-through rate. You guys can see here, it's average over $60,000 in spend. I got a 2.26% click-through rate. So that is what has allowed me to scale so broadly and rapidly to all, like I pretty much did almost every interest available. And just because I was getting such a high click-through rate that my cost per click on some of these, I mean, you can see I was averaging 10 cents, some more, some less, but I'm averaging 10 cents per click. And like I've said in the group and that before, Pinterest traffic does not convert as well as Facebook or Google. The algorithm's not as good. They don't have as much data. They can't target as well. It just doesn't convert as well. So the name of the game with Pinterest, you got to get your cost per click low because it won't convert as well. So you can't be paying the same cost per click that you're going to pay to Facebook or Google because it won't convert as well. So you have to get your cost per click down, and the way to get your cost per click down is to get a high click-through rate ad. So that is what has allowed me to scale so rapidly and so broadly, is just having a high click-through rate ad. And the product I'm selling, it's a broad appeal product. It's not like niche. It's very broad appeal. So that has allowed me to go into all these different interest targetings. So that is what you want to do first. Is I would come through and I would first sort by gender. And that'll be the easiest, just to come through and do a gender breakdown. Now, if something hasn't even spent like up to your break-even amount and it's not doing great, personally, I let it run. If you got like a good campaign running overall and you can see that, other ad sets are making money and getting purchases in that, like something like this, as a resell, or retargeting rather, but something. Wow, that one's got 203. Okay, yeah, but anything like this, like unspecified, it only spent $16. It hasn't gotten any sales yet, but my break even is considerably more than $16. So I'm fine with letting these things run longer till at least you hit your break even point. Personally, I'm fine with going like 2 times my break-even point, just because I know that this product and these other ads are running well. So sometimes the algorithm, it'll go around and it'll try different pockets of different audiences and test different things. So sometimes on a day-to-day basis, like an ad group will be doing well and then it just tanks the next day. And according to my rep, when I asked him, he said that it'll be testing different pockets of the audiences, and sometimes different pockets don't perform as well. So sometimes you'll see a decline one day, in performance like that. It'll get you might still get a bunch of clicks, high click-through rate, low cost per click, all that, but they just don't convert. Sometimes you'll get 2,000 clicks and not a single purchase. So depending on what it's spent, that's up to you personally. But I'm with something that I know is running profitably. Otherwise, I'm okay with letting it go to like a 2 times break even before I kill it off. But this is how you're going to want to go through first to optimize your ad groups once you start getting some data in them. Because you can see here, if I were to cut out this ad group here, this would be a lot more profitable. I mean, it's doing fine for me already. It's at 173 overall, but you can see these two, 206, 218. If we were to cut this mail out, this would be at an over 200% return on ad spend for the overall ad group. So that is what you want to do once you start getting some data in. And the next thing after gender, I would do the interest. So you'll be able to see here, I don't have all of my ad groups with one of the level 2 interests unselected like I taught you guys to do. So you can see here, I didn't do it for these two. So I should, but I didn't. But so the next biggest spender we can see is women's fashion. Now, so women's fashion, we can see breaking down, this is how it'll look then. If you unselect one of the level 2 interests, then you'll be able to see all of the other level 2 interests broken down here. So then we can come through and we can see, okay, this one has spent $1,200 and only gotten a 78% return on ad spend in this subsection. So I am going to want to cut this one out. That one's not performing well. Same with this next top spender, dress. This has only got an 86% return. So these two are sucking. Like now I can see these two, no good, want to cut these. And these are my top 2 spenders. And they're losing me money. Here's good. So let's see, overall, yeah, so this whole ad group has only been barely breaking. It's just like breaking even for me. But now I can see that if I cut this, let's see, $100. Like, yeah, I'd probably cut this one now. It's spent $100. I'd probably cut that. And these lower ones under 100. Well, those returns are fine. This one I'd probably leave. It's only spent 89 to get one purchase. So it's I would let this one run to get more data. This one I think I would cut, and 257, that's a little under. This one I'll probably let continue to run a little longer because it's really close to break even for me. But definitely would cut these top 2 ones because they're spending most of the budget and they are losing me money. So and then same thing, just go through each one of, you can break down each one of these and you can see these ones are doing pretty well overall. Let's see, that one. Yeah, that one. I might cut this one since that's losing money. I spent a couple $100 already. But yeah, so that would be the next thing to do, would be to break down by interest. Now, you can break down by keyword, but honestly, from what I see mostly, the keywords are like to get much data, I guess, or to get much traffic from keywords, you typically have to use like a lot of keywords. I usually stuff like hundreds into an ad group so that it's like somewhat scalable. But what I've found is that like when you do that, it'll be doing all these keywords, and like, so some of them will hit, it'll spend $2 and it'll get a sale, and you got all these different ones that have spent like less than $1, a few dollars. Like I don't have even a in this time frame. I just checked it right before I started recording this video. I don't have a single keyword that has spent like even a break even amount of money yet. So it's just because there's so many. I think it's a little harder to go through then and to like come through and look at keyword by keyword and cutting and that with the keywords, just because you need typically quite a few keywords to achieve any sort of scale with it. So I'm not against sprinkling keywords in. Like I have some ad groups that are doing well that have keywords in them. Like this one, this is interest plus keywords together, and it's been running since November, and it's got over that time period now it's done 241%. So this one's like doing great for me, and it's got keywords and stuff in there. But I don't refine by keyword just because most of them don't spend very much money individually. So it's kind of hard. Like it seems just kind of hit or miss to me with the keywords. Like, this one will get one after spending $1. The other, you get a bunch that'll spend a few bucks and don't. But just because of the search volume per keyword, they don't spend that much per keyword. So you need a lot of them. And then the ones that do hit are like, I don't think it's really a good way to refine your data. Just because I don't think there's enough data per keyword to do it. So those are the main ways that I personally would break down. Now you can go into other things here, like we can go in and we can go by, let's say, device. Oh, also, as far as age goes, age may be a good factor depending on what you're selling. I already went through a little while back and I totaled up, like I broke it down by age group, and then I totaled up my spend, my checkout value for each ad group and each age range within each ad group, and I totaled them all up in an Excel file to see how each age group was performing, like independently of each ad group, and every single age group was profitable for me. Some more than others, like 25, like the 25 to 35 range, and the next one up like 35 to 44. Those ones were the most profitable for me. But like even the oldest age groups, like they were still profitable for me. Not as much as the younger ones, but they were still profitable. So I'm not going to cut them. But then you can do, now, so web is actually a low performer for me here. So I might consider cutting web. Let me see how this looks on this. But then on here, on this one, web's all right. So I don't really know. And this one, web 190, but this one, Android mobile sucks, 82%. Like, I don't know if I think that's just kind of luck of the draw somewhat. I don't know if I truly believe that this group on Android mobile specifically isn't doing. I don't know if I believe that Android mobile is the factor that's causing it to not run as well. Because right here we got Android mobile, doing 203%. So I don't know if I personally would include or exclude based on device type. But if any of you guys have more feedback on that, I'm totally open to hearing what you guys have to say about managing by device type. But I personally don't do it just because the results seem so varied from ad group to ad group. It makes me feel like that's really not the factor that's causing it. And then one I have come through and done already, like 4 or 5 days ago or so. I came through already and I did country breakdown. So I think this is another good one to do, as well as the age, gender, and interests, is to come check out by country. So I already came through, like I said, and cut some of these. So we'll probably see some of these that I've already cut, but let's see here. So these are the highest spenders. These returns, good. So here we can see, like UK and Australia not doing so hot on these ad groups, and they've spent a fair amount. I remember I came through. I ended up cutting Germany out of a lot of ad groups. So I had Germany in a bunch of them, and I ended up cutting Germany from a lot of them. Germany was underperforming for me for a lot of them. Let's see. I guess, another way to do it is just to sort by the return on ad spend as well. And then let's see here. So if we go to some of the lower return on ad spend ones here, we can see something that's got some decent spend in it. Let's see here. So we can see Canada not doing so hot. UK spent over $100, not doing so hot. Um, you know, I don't need to go through every one of these. I think you guys get the point. Like right here, $367 with 76% ad spend. Probably want to cut Canada out of this. Same here, UK 62%. So this is what I would do. If I were you guys. Easiest one to come in and go through is gender. That one's real easy. But then check out those level 2 breakdowns of interest. Check out the country. Check out age groups. That can vary depending on your product. For me, they were all still profitable, but you're going to want to do this once you start having some data coming in. But I would let everything get to at minimum a one-time break even. Like, let it at least get to the break-even point in spending before you decide to cut anything. Because sometimes things, honestly, I'll have stuff where something just sucks, and it might spend a bunch of money too, and it sucks it up for a little while. But it may have been performing great before then, and then it might perform again great after that. So I would say things take longer to stabilize, and they take more data to stabilize with Pinterest. So it's like, I wouldn't be too quick to go through and just start cutting stuff because unless you're at a high amount of ad spend, your day-to-day results they're not gonna be consistent for the most part. For the most part, they won't be that consistent. Like my day-to-day results used to jump up and down a lot more. My return on ad spend used to jump around a lot more day to day. It wasn't until I started scaling up to the point of spending like a pretty large amounts, like thousands a day, till things really got stable as far as like daily performance. Because other than that, when you're spending less, lower amounts, you're going to want to look at your performance on like a weekly or even like a 2-week level to get an idea of how things are performing. Don't come in and judge everything day by day when you're spending $100 a day. It's just it's gonna be too inconsistent to do that. And one thing I was looking at too with this ad group is it took a long time before I actually got any sales. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I'll come back. I'll show you guys like beginning of, I don't remember when it was, but I was just looking at this the other day. So if we go, let's see, and we'll change status to all. So like here we got, I think this would have been, so in my first like $577 spent, I got one checkout. So, but you guys see that this product and everything is crushing it now, but it took like $500 for me to get one sale. And then things started picking up after. So this is November 1st through the 13th, and then let's go like 14th through the end of the month. So there was my spend. And then we got the return up to 190 with the next 1850 spent, so things really started picking up here as far as performance goes. Also at the beginning, I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was still figuring out Pinterest, and I was running a bunch of traffic campaigns, which totally sucked to cold traffic, so wasted money on those and everything. So I just wouldn't be too quick to judge things if I were you guys, just because it takes a little longer from what I've seen. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.